Street. Live from Ekwabwahima Studio, number 9 Dr. Iset Street, Northridge. This is NewsLine.
It's 10:30 p.m. The news just got started. Good evening and welcome to NewsLine on Metro TV. We're live on DSTV channel 277. We're also streaming live on Facebook at Metro News and on Twitter at Metro TVGH. My name is Moro Awudu. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, demands that the Chief Justice Kwesi Enenyi-Yeboah steps aside temporarily as various institutions prepare to commence investigations into the $5 million bribery allegation leveled against him. Controversy on emoluments for first and second ladies rages on. Minority in Parliament is demanding interest accrued since 2017 to be paid, even as First Lady issues a check for repayment of the allowances till date. NewsLine is always brought to you by Delta Paper, producers of floral disposable tissue. I will be right back.
Logo the bottom. Where you say 80 local channels na mo and so pictures near clear. A 5 times better. As other channels that could be your hormone. So we mention one time rack away. Oh, what the pictures.
Who knows tomorrow?
What the picture? What you AD plus decoder or multi TV and now electoral agent PR. Natural local channels now HD the here so better
star 879 hash
numbers from people box and now the advert 80 channels now. You can
get an HD Plus decoder from now till the 9th of August for just $89.99 Ghana cedis and enjoy 3 months free subscription. Enjoy all the excitement and live sports action in the HD Plus Air Bosso Philippines promo lasts from 7th June to 9th August 2021. Visit hd-plus.com.gh or call 024-243-9872 for more info.
Half a nose for good things.
Welcome back to the program. The Opposition National Democratic Congress, the NDC, is demanding that the Chief Justice, Kwesi Enenyi-Yeboah, steps aside temporarily as various institutions prepare to commence investigations into bribery allegations leveled against him. The Chief Justice has petitioned TRAJ, Police CID, and the General Legal Counsel to investigate a $5 million bribe against him. Speaking at a press briefing, the General Secretary of the NDC said that CJ could influence the outcome of the investigations and hence needs to step aside. Let's now listen to Johnson Asiedu Nketia.
Speaking at the press conference, General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, argued that this will allow for a fair investigation to be conducted into allegations of misconduct leveled against the Chief Justice.
The person who is the disciplinarian cannot be disciplining himself. So if we want to go according to the Judicial Services Act, then the person who is the subject of the allegation must step aside so that other officials will take over during the pendency of the investigation, and if he is cleared, he returns back to post. If otherwise, then it will all come out of the investigation. As I've said, the Chief Justice cannot be a judge in his own cause, hence cannot set up a committee to investigate allegations of misconduct against himself.
His call is born out of the belief that the Judicial Services investigation into the alleged misconduct might be compromised, hence the NDC's call for a public inquiry into the bribery allegation, saying it is the best approach to establishing the truth.
At the route of the President triggering some commission to look at it, if we don't feel persuaded, there is a third route we can investigate, and that is the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, which has an enviable reputation of looking into similar cases of alleged corruption against highly placed state and government officials, will be better placed to conduct such an inquiry. At least when you take the records of CID and CHRAG, as far as high-profile cases like this are concerned, we believe that CHRAG has performed better.
The Chief Justice has denied allegations of bribery leveled against him and petitioned the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service to investigate the matter. Shadrach Odame Ejare, Metro News, Accra.
Well, still at the same event, the National Women's Organizer of the NDC, Hannah Louisa Bisiu, has mentioned that the rejection and refunding of allowances received by the First and Second Ladies is a step in the right direction. She also commended the citizenry for the outrage they poured on the matter. She was speaking to Metro News, Shadrach Odame Ejare.
Well, I think that it's a in the right direction. When I heard it, the first thing I said was that, well, it means that after all the PDS and after all the whatever monies that have gone into private pockets, they can't simply take care of their wives, and for that matter, we have to take care of them. So I'll say that the credit goes to the Ghanaians who spoke out, and that's the reason why they have come out to say, you know, they are going to refund it and they are rejecting it. They are not rejecting it because it's in their pure conscience, but they are rejecting it because there's a lot of national pressure against it. That's why they say they don't want it. It's not because, you know, it came out and they said no. If it was, it wouldn't have come out at all. But you realize that the presidency was pushing for it to be, you know, normalized so that we would take care of their wives. Mr. President, with the greatest respect, I mean, you should set a good example for the young men. You should take care of your wife. And the vice president should take care of his wife. That's your responsibility as a husband. And I'm not a lawyer, but the little I know in the Constitution, I don't know where they mention them, that they should be given monies. And any monies that you give to, you pay in this country, that is not backed by law.
Dr. Clement Apark is Member of Parliament for the Bilsa South constituency. Remember that last week, he, together with two other colleague MPs, filed a suit at the Supreme Court to challenge the payment of emoluments to the spouses of the President and the Vice President. He joins us via Zoom for a conversation on the back of this latest development. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, good evening, Imoro. I hope you can see and hear me.
Absolutely, I can. Now, Doc, given that the First Lady has decided to refund all the allowances paid her since 2017, Where does this leave your case in court?
Very well. Imoro, I think it is proper to provide a brief context to the issue. Our case in court is on the basis of what we believe is illegal, on the basis of recommendations made and approved to pay a monthly salary, the First Lady, equivalent to the salary received by a cabinet minister who also doubles as a member of parliament. And for the Second Lady, to pay her the equivalent of the pay of a cabinet minister who is not a member of parliament. We have argued that the Professor Ya Ntiamua Bedu's report has exceeded what it was expected to recommend. Simply put, there is no legal or constitutional justification for the inclusion of the First and Second Ladies in the report as beneficiaries and office holders defined in Article 71. So that is why we have gone to court. So whether or not Madame Rebecca Kufuado, the First Lady, and Madame Samira Baumia, the Second Lady, have chosen not to accept that recommendation, does not negate the reason why we have gone to court.
Right.
Very simple.
Right.
Until the court makes a pronouncement on what we have brought forward, down the line, perhaps on the blind side of Ghanaians, the recommendations could be given effect. So in spite of the action that they have announced, rejecting any offers as captured in the emoluments, Presidential Emoluments Committee report, or their voluntary decision to refund acceptable, lawful, time-tested monies given to them as was given to previous First Ladies as allowances, funded from the budgetary allocation to government machinery.
Right.
That does not change the issue at
right.
hand.
And I think that the context you're just giving is very important because it puts the matter in its right perspective. And now, because we don't want to veer into the area of sub judice, would leave it as it is and allow the courts to make a determination on that matter. But how did the decision by the First and Second Lady to refund the accumulated allowances paid to them, I mean, how did it come to you?
Well, it came to me as a bit surprising, and I didn't think it was justified. Because the whole brouhaha, the public outcry, the ongoing raging debate, and indeed the expression of anger from a cross-section of Ghanaians had to do with the recommendations. So if they have agreed, as we have indicated, that the committee went outside of its remit to make such recommendations, and therefore they have indicated ahead of time that they will reject anything that comes to them based on that recommendation, I would have felt that that would have been sufficient. But to then go back and say, all allowances that you have received legitimately, without question, without controversy, you are going to pay all of that back, I believe was an overreaction. But it is their choice. But I would say if they are going to do so, they should do so transparently in a way and manner that will satisfy the Ghanaians that this public good, quote unquote, that they have decided to render in the wake of the attempt to pay them a salary which is unconstitutional, that it is done satisfactorily.
Right. Just briefly, and just 30 seconds, what do you make of calls by a section of Ghanaians, especially on social media, that perhaps the former first families should also be refunding whatever allowances that have been paid them in the past? Where do you stand on this matter?
That call is unjustified. And I tell you honestly and sincerely that it is being pushed by supporters, members, apparatchiks of the ruling MPP. because of the very embarrassing way in which this attempt to pay the first and second lady as though they were office holders under Article 71 has caused them, they are seeking to muddy the waters by making this call, which has no standing at all, because no first lady has received their allowances in a way and manner that is against the laws, the customs, and the traditions of the Fourth Republic as much and as far as support for first ladies in and out of government are concerned. So that call is not justified.
All right. So
they
you think
under no compulsion.
All right. So you think that call is moot?
Rebecca Akufo and the second lady are under no compulsion to refund the monies.
Okay.
They are doing it voluntarily.
All right. I want to thank you very much for talking to us this evening, Dr. Clement Abbas Apak, for talking to us on Newsline. It's always a pleasure. Now, the Minority Caucus in Parliament is also urging the Auditor General to go into the accounts of the first and second ladies and conduct a rigorous audit of their accounts from 2017 and 2021 and compute the interest of the monies paid them by the state and demand payments of interest of those monies. Now, this was made known at a press briefing held in Parliament not long ago. Abdullah Mohammed was there and has come through with excerpts of the briefing.
Since 2017, that she started receiving this salary, does it mean that she doesn't spend the money and she kept the money in her account all this while? If the answer is yes, it means that she did not need the money. So why did she take the money in the first place? If that is the case, refunding the money now, you must also compute the interest that the money would have accrued and pay that same to government. So we are calling on the Auditor General to go into the accounts of the First Lady and the Second Lady, first of all, to ascertain that the money she refunded is the money she actually received. That is number one. Two, also to compute the interest that that money would have accrued if that money had been put into any interest-bearing account, so that that money should also be refunded. The interest component should also be refunded. Third, to ascertain whether there is sufficient money in the account so that the check that she has issued will not bounce. Yes. The fourth one is also, if she is now refunding the money, it means that she is not interested in any state fund. For that matter, all state funding of her NGO should also be audited by the Auditor General, and then all those money should also be refunded to the states, because she is not interested in receiving state sponsorship support.
All right, the man you're shot there is the Deputy Minority Leader, that's James Kluche of AG, speaking to the press. Now, Newsline will be back shortly. Now, welcome back. The co-tenants of the late social media activist Ibrahim Mohammed Kaka, whose death spiked protests at Ejura, have appeared before the Justice Committee of Inquiry on Tuesday, July 13, 2021, to testify. There's more in this report filed by our Ashanti regional correspondent, Abdel Basik Suleiman, read to you.
Day 6 of the sitting of the three-member committee probing the Ejura killings began with the mother of Awal, Ms. Bawu, a 16-year-old boy who has been amputated as a result of gunshot wounds he sustained during protest at Ejura on 29th June 2021. Co-tenant Fuseini Ibrahim and his wife Sadia Fuseini told the committee about unusual noise they heard around 1 a.m. on June 26, 2021. She saw the brother of Kaka by name Idi Mohammed holding the hands of Kaka trying to drag him into the bathhouse. She quickly called on Kaka's wife to come and see what has happened to her husband.
So Lord, in the night, myself, my wife, and my uncle went to the police station. After his arrest, the police were looking for me. Some of the youth in Ejura were looking for me. So Lord, as we speak, I don't know the whereabouts of my wife because of the threats on us from the youth that we light against Baba Idi. But after knocking at the door of Kaka's wife and turned back, I saw Baba Idi having left his brother and then had turned away. Lord, I have a friend who is also a neighbor in the house, and when she heard me shouting and calling, knocking at Saada's door and calling her, she also came out, and when she was coming, she met Baba Idi on the road. Lord, because Baba Idi is the brother of Kaka, I was afraid to mention this to anybody because they are relatives. So I was just praying that Kaka will recover and then he will say it himself that it was his brother who caused that harm to him.
The chairman of the committee, Justice George Kingsley Kumsin, clarified that the committee is not investigating the death of Kaka since that was a criminal case and being handled by the police and the CID department.
As a matter of fact, we are not investigating Kaka's death. We are only going through the incident that led to the 29th, let me put it, disturbances in Ejura.
Another co-tenant, Muniratu Al-Hassan, appearing before the committee, indicated that she heard a loud noise and came out to see Kaka lying down motionless. The committee urged them to provide the police with the necessary information which could lead to a possible prosecution of the culprit of the murder of Kaka Mohammed. All the witnesses were later referred to a psychologist on standby at the committee. Sitting was adjourned to Wednesday, July 14, 2021.
A ranking member of the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Mintah Kando, is urging Ghanaians to take their destinies into their own hands to protect themselves against the deadly COVID-19. His reasoning is simple, that government has failed to procure vaccines on time to protect Ghanaians in the face of the exponential surge in the pandemic over the past few weeks. According to him, government had enough time to plan for the worst, but failed due to lack of adequate planning and misplaced priorities.
As I stand here as a ranking member on Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, if you ask me when we are going to roll out the next vaccination plan, the answer is I don't know. I don't know. And the worst of it all is that we have stopped doing testing. Now, if you have a positive case, it takes you, the patient, to go and test your relatives. There's no government plan for testing. Now, laboratories are charging between 360 Ghana cedis to 600 Ghana cedis. Now, government facilities have run out of reagents even to do testing. Now, hospitals are full up, and you know. So the earlier we take decisions in order to save the good people of this country, the better it will be for all of us. Nobody should come and tell us it's an emergency situation. The lack of preparedness of government cannot be misconstrued to be emergency. We have brought this onto ourselves. Because early this year and late last year, the president has consistently been talking about vaccination. And we are back to square zero. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will take this opportunity to advise the public to take their own destinies into their own hands. Because what we are seeing is more or less like a third wave. And therefore, let us take the COVID-19 protocols seriously and adhere to them.
All right, so that's it for tonight's edition of Newsline. But before I go, a quick run through the major headlines. Opposition National Democratic Congress NDC demands that the Chief Justice Kwesi Enediaboa steps aside temporarily as various institutions prepare to commence investigations into the $5 million bribery allegation leveled against him. And also in the news, controversy on emoluments for first and second ladies rages on. Minority in Parliament is demanding interest accrued since 2017 to be paid even as First Lady issues a check for repayment of her allowances till date. Newsline is always brought to you by Delta Paper, producers of floral disposable tissue. My name is Moro Adu. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself. The news never sleeps. Have a good night.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Bringing you Africa's creme de la creme's classiest hangouts, award shows, end-of-year parties, wedding, graduations, birthdays, fashion or corporate events. Metro Social has got you covered. We present Bazaar,